started. So I got a few questions for you all, and feel free to shout it out with the people around you. You can get a debate going about it and everything else. So here we go. Who's the best NBA basketball player ever? What about this one? Hey, by the way, a year is 12 months, man, just so you know. It's all good. But hey, we all got a lot of different questions coming into college, you know what I'm saying? Especially starting a new year, we got a bunch of different things running through our minds. And so some of them are this, you know, it's like, how are my classes going to play out this year? You know, you're cramming into the lecture hall, you're trying to figure that stuff out. You know, you're trying to figure out, hey, is that girl that I like me back, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got, questions going on and stuff like that. You're trying to figure out how to do your laundry, you know, as a freshman. You're trying to figure out how to do your laundry. It took me a while to figure it out. Hey, just turn the water on cold and throw it all in there and it'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? What about this one? You're trying to figure out jobs after college, you know, some of us maybe we're further along in our college career. We're thinking about now after college, we're thinking about who our friends are going to be, you know, we're thinking of who we kind of forming cliques on campus, like who our friend groups are going to be, you know, and then we're thinking about, some of us who are graduates, we're thinking about where we're going to live, you know, what's the next steps, and everything else look like for us. But in general, you know, there's a lot of different questions that we have coming into college and all throughout college. But I think one question that we should all have on our mind is, what does it look like to grow in my faith in college? You know, for some of us, this is a question that's already on our minds. And for some of us, you know, it's kind of on the back of our minds. But we're going to unpack a little bit of what it looks like and even investigate our faith tonight. And so we're going to launch into a series over the next 6 weeks, just breaking down different topics of questions that people have in regards to their faith. And so Tom's going to break down this faith things from work with the people over there. Jordan Edwards is going to ask, what am I here for? He's going to ask, Jacob Tibbs is going to talk about why is Jesus relevant to me. And then Bob Harrison, look at my top gun over there. He's going to talk about how the Bible was relatable in college. I'm going to talk again on is it even possible to fall back to college. And then Joel Johnson is going to talk about why we shouldn't wait, even though growing in our faith in college. But I think one of the reasons why we should all be interested in talking about faith or looking into our faith in college is because of this quote right here. And so this quote is from A.W. Tozer, and I think it's one of the most impactful quotes that I've heard just on this topic. It says, what comes into our minds when we think about God is the most important thing about us. So on your sheet, there's kind of the quotes on the sheet. Go ahead and fill in those blanks right there. What comes into our minds when we think about God is the most important thing about us. And so I want to hear what you all think. I want you all to talk amongst yourselves and kind of discuss this. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? And also, what comes to your mind when you think about God? So go ahead and turn to somebody next to you and just talk about that question. Do you agree or disagree with that statement, with that quote? And then what comes into your mind when you think about God? Go ahead and discuss. campus for about 10 years doing ministry, hanging out with students, and talking to people about their faith, what they think of when they think about God. I think there's a bunch of different categories that people fit in. So I'm going to kind of walk through some of those different categories as to what people think when they think about God. This is probably none of you all, but I'm going to walk through a couple of them. And so one of them is just a far-off God. You know, the God that kind of created everything and then just like kind of backed off in the corner. You know what I'm saying? He started the whole process, but man, he's kind of far off, hands off, like he's nowhere near, nowhere around what's going on. He has nothing to do with our day-to-day life. You know, that's one way that we can view God. That's one image that can come to my mind when we think about God. Or it could be the old crusty God. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. I'm talking to folks. Hey, but you know, he's old crusty. He don't want you to have no fun. Anytime you're having a good time, he's coming and trying to crush it. You know what I mean? He's coming to take life away from you, not to give life to you. And so I think for a lot of people, that's what comes to their mind. They think about God. They're like, man, he's trying to suck the fun out of my life as opposed to really giving me life. Another one is the hippie guy. You know, so this is the hippie guy, the guy that is just like, hey, do whatever you want. I don't really care. You know, I'm just here for a good time. And when he's not really concerned with how we live or if you right or wrong, he's just saying, hey, do what you want. You know what I mean? And so that's another one that people have. Another one is the Santa Claus guy. And so that's basically where you come to God whenever you need something. You know what I'm saying? So you're cramming for that test. You're up the night before. You know, you're kind of like your fourth bang. You know what I mean? And you're like asking God, hey, can you help me get an A on this test? It's the Santa Claus guy. You know what I'm saying? Don't play like you ain't done it. I done it. All right. Another one is the Morgan Freeman guy. You know, that's the one that people have. You know, I'm trying to talk to people about that. But in general, you know, as I interact with people and as I've grown in my faith myself, I've just seen that, man, the most important aspect of a person, the most deep down to the core, the most important aspect about a person, the most important character quality about a person is what they believe about God. Again, what comes into our mind when we think about God is the most important thing about us. And here's why. This quote continues on, and it actually gives a little bit more clarity to this statement. I think after we hear it, it's going to bring it to life a little bit more. It says, we tend, by a secret law of the soul, to move toward our mental image of God. We tend, by a secret law of the soul, to move toward our mental image of God. You know, whatever we put as God in our minds, we just have a natural tendency as human beings to move towards whatever that image is. You know, when we talk about faith, man, we talk about faith in God, but man, it works its way out in so many different ways in our lives. You see, man, what I believe about God really does affect how I live on a day-to-day basis in so many ways. And honestly, for me, and I was kind of sitting in you all's seats a few years back, and I came into college, and honestly, this was my view of God. I didn't believe in God. In my freshman year, I kind of came on campus, and I was like, man, this whole faith thing, man, this isn't real. And for me, I don't really believe, you know, there is a God. And honestly, man, that affected the way I live in a lot of different ways. You know, honestly, I jumped into a bunch of things and habits that really hurt me. But I formed a lifestyle that was really damaging to myself. Man, I started to hurt people around me, my friends around me. I honestly wasn't the most trustworthy guy, you know, my first year in college. And then I remember one of my friends just kind of began to talk to me about what it looked like for me to have a relationship with God. He began to ask me questions as it pertained to my faith. And at that point, man, I wasn't necessarily the most open to it, but I began to give it a chance. I began to think deeply about what would it look like for me to have faith, in a real God. And so I began to read the Bible. I began to study. I began to look into who God was. And y'all, as I unpacked who God was, and as I got to know God more and more on a deeper level, I realized there's way more to this God than people know. There's way more to this God than people know. I didn't grow up going to church. I didn't know the Sunday school songs or anything like that. But man, when I started looking at my faith, man, this God from the scripture started to unfold right before my eyes, and my heart was captivated by it. Man, I had to be more. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about this idea of God. This question that we're answering is, what is God really like? And that's a big question, right? You know, like no one can stand up here on stage, you know, in 25 minutes, unpack what God is really like. We're gonna try to do it justice, and I'm gonna unpack some things that I think helps give us a clearer picture of who God really is. And if I had to sum God up in one word, I would describe him this way. He's awesome. He's awesome. Hey, I don't use that word a lot. I'm not walking around saying this is awesome, that's awesome. But I feel like a lot of people throw that word around, you know what I mean? It's kind of overused in a sense. But when you really break down that word, I think it really does capture it because the root word of awesome is just this word awe. And when you look at the definition of awe, I think it really does capture a picture of what God is really like. So here's the definition of awe. It's a feeling of respect mixed with wonder. A feeling of respect mixed with wonder. So a word picture of it, or kind of the dictionary definition, one of the synonyms they give is this one right here. It's just being at a loss for words. It's being at a loss for words. So if I had to put an emoji to it, you know what I'm saying? Let's just break down the definition already. This is the emoji right here, you know what I'm saying? That's what it's going to look like. It's awe. That's awe. And it's a feeling of respect mixed with wonder, mixed with awe. God really is awesome in so many ways. But I think in order for us to understand how God really is awesome and what he's really like in his awesomeness, I think there's two aspects about God that we really need to understand and we really need to unpack. And so the first one is just this, is that we need to understand his awesome creation. His awesome creation. So I want us to look at a verse that really captures my attention even as we talk about creation. And it's in Psalm 19, verse 1 through 4. And so it's going to, this is what it says. It says, the heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they reveal knowledge. They have no speech. They use no words. No sound is heard from them. Yet their voice goes out into all the earth. Their words to the end of the world. Now, that passage is amazing. And what it's doing is it's painting a word picture. It's using an analogy to describe creation and how that puts God on display. And honestly, for me, and it kind of made the most sense when I thought about how I was raised up, because I grew up on the south side of Houston, Texas. And honestly, there was just a lot of different slangs and dialects and cultures and everything else coming through there. But I had a homeboy, he had a cavernous tooth, and he kind of spoke with a list. But every now and then at the end of his sentence, he would just go, you see what I'm saying? You know? And I'd be like, no, I don't see what you're saying. And he every sentence, he's like, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, eventually I got tired of it. I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. I cannot visually see what you're saying, okay? But as I thought about this passage, man, all of a sudden, I thought, man, that phrase really does capture the meaning of this passage. Because in this passage, it's saying that what we see, man, is connected, and what we see is connected to what God is trying to audibly communicate about himself. You see these different words right here? The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim. Day to day they pour forth speech. Night after night they reveal. They have no speech, they use no words, no sound is heard from them, yet their voice goes out to all the earth, their words to the end of the world. We can actually see what God is saying about himself through creation. You know, you think about the stars. You know, some of us have probably been out at night, you know, just when the sun's just right, there's no lights out, I mean, you can just see stars all throughout the sky. And that feeling that you have when you look at that is awe, is wonder. You know, but that awe that you experience when you look out at that night sky and you see all those stars in the sky, and it's really meant to point you to the ultimate awe of God and who he really is. You see, these stars, it's unbelievable. They actually, NASA just recently just released a study, and they actually came to the conclusion that it's innumerable how many stars there are. They just put a word, they said there's a zillion stars, and that word zillion literally means it's uncountable how many stars there are. I mean, they're all these massive balls of gas, light years away. And man, as I look at that, man, when I think about those times when I'm looking at the stars, man, it reminds me of the vastness of God. And how inexhaustible he is, and how far-reaching he is, and how big God really is. See, we see the stars, but do we see what they're saying? Do we see what they're saying? You look at the ocean. It's unbelievable. I get to go to the Gold Coast every summer to spend time kind of by the Gold Coast, and it's amazing that I'm standing in the water and I can just kind of feel the waves like hitting my legs, and I can just feel the power of the waves and coming off of the ocean. As I look out into the ocean, I'm just reminded of how weak and how small and how fragile I am. Why? I know you're a lot stronger, but man, you stand in the waves and it's still rocking. You know what I mean? Those things are powerful. I mean, honestly, the power that's displayed in those waves in the oceans is supposed to invoke awe, which is supposed to remind us of the power of the God that really made it. You see, we see the ocean, but do we see what the ocean is saying? You think about something as small as an organism like a leaf, and you can get up close and look at the detail of it, and you see the intricacy, the design of it, and all the veins going throughout it, the chlorophyll, how it absorbs the sun, and how it turns that into energy. It's unbelievable. There's little factories going on inside of every plant that we see. And may we see that, and what that's meant to point us to, it's meant to give us awe, which is meant to put us in awe of God who designed that, and the intricacy, the detail of God. So we can see what God is saying about himself, that he really is a God of detail. Or even something like this. This is right over there on the Conza Prairie. We probably pass this every time we come in to Kansas. Every time we come into Kansas State. You know, we stand out there on the Conza and we see the sunset, and we see the rays from the sun break into the spectrum of light, and all of a sudden the sunset is like purple hitting our eyes. It's absolutely gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, and it strikes awe in our hearts. It's supposed to point us to the awesomeness of God and his beauty that he really does when he communicates to us. You see, we see these things, but do we see what they're saying? We see what they're saying. And I love how Romans 1:20 kind of sums it up. It says, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse." I think about that definition that we looked at earlier where it said that we're at a loss for words. And when it comes to God and what he's communicated about himself, really we are at a without excuse. We're at a loss for words. We should be in awe. We should be in awe of what God has done. I mean, even just in creation, he has spoken so much and so clearly about himself through creation that we're without excuse. We just got to shut our mouth. We're at a loss for words. But it's crazy because God doesn't stop there. He keeps going, and he continues to reveal himself, and he reveals himself even more clearly in the Word of God. 2 Timothy 3:16, all scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness. You see, God not only created the universe, he created the stars, he created the ocean, he created all that, but he also created the scriptures. And if you want to know anything about God, I mean, everything you need to know about God, you can find in the scriptures. See, God, even though he's revealed himself through creation to all of us, he decided to most clearly reveal himself to us through the scriptures. You see, a blind man could know God as deeply as he needed to know God just by running his fingers over the page of scriptures and reading what God had to say about himself. See, the scriptures communicate so clearly who God is, and we can get to know this awesome God as we read the scriptures, as the scriptures are unpacked to us. And those scriptures point us to the second thing that I really do think should strike awe in our hearts of God. The second aspect that really does unpack what this God is really like is this. It's just his awesome character. It's an awesome character. In the scriptures, God has revealed who he is to us in an unbelievable way. We get to see what God is really like. But y'all, as we talk about God's character, I'm kind of one of the dudes that, I like to try before I buy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to just hop into something, and not know what I'm getting into. As we talk about God's character, you know what I mean? I think it kind of reminds me of when I'm going to the barbershop. It's like I want to know the character of the barber before I necessarily hop in the chair, okay? This morning I had to go to Great Clips, because I had to get my hair cut. Oh, yeah. All right, yeah. Good. I needed the tape on the side, I had to do it. Didn't know the character of the barber, walked in, I was nervous as all get out, and I came out alive, okay? I did all right. But man, normally when I step into a barbershop, you guys kind of get this, hey, you want your haircut to be fresh, you want it to be clean, so you want to see the reputation of the barber before you necessarily saw fit. So I usually look at the little signs, you know, that they have out front, you know, with all the haircuts on it. You know, and I make sure, you know, I kind of line it up. I'm like, hey, is this what I want on my head? You know what I mean? Girls can probably relate to some, you know, with the hairstyle and everything else. But, you know, another example of that is Amazon. You know what I mean? I basically do all my shopping on Amazon now. You know, it's like I don't even go to the store anymore. I feel like I'm all dead to me in my mind. You know what I mean? But before I buy something on Amazon, like I got to check it out. You know, I'm looking at the reviews and everything else. You know, checking those out, making sure that, you know, I'm making sure I'm getting what I'm buying. You know, another thing is like, you know, you check out the YouTube videos I ever do on YouTube and look at the product review, you know, before you buy it. You know what I mean? Hey, look, I just bought an iPhone XR, okay? That thing was $1,000. You better believe I watched every video on that iPhone before I bought it. I wanted to make sure I knew what I was getting. You know what I mean? But even when you talk about God's character, it's cool because, man, God has revealed himself in the scriptures and he tells us exactly what he's like, and there's no deficiency, and it's a 5-star review every single time. So we're going to unpack some of those character qualities of God. The first one is this, his faithfulness. His faithfulness. So in Lamentations 3:22 through 23, it says that because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. For his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. And that's the beautiful thing about God, is that God is his character, and he always shows up. Y'all, I got a dog at home. It's a little Yorkie, you know? And yeah, y'all know, like, you're a 230-pound little linebacker. We should look like holding a Yorkie. Okay? I'll be holding a Yorkie, okay? That's my Yorkie. All right? But that dog is faithful. Every single time, you know, I walk into the house, she is showing up. You know, her name is Maya. After my name is real beautiful. You know, she comes up, she's just barking and everything, and, you know, hopping up on me. She's just happy to see me. I wake up in the morning, there she is. You know, I'm leaving the house, there she is on my heel. Like, you know, she's always around. I can't, like, get rid of her. She's always consistently showing me love. You know, and as I think about God and his faithfulness, and I think in a way it's connected, it's like God is consistent in his character. He never changes. There's never a time when God is not the same. He's going to show up every single day, and you can count on him, just like my little Yorkie, every single day. He's going to show up. He is faithful. He is faithful. Another aspect of him is his holiness. His holiness. Holiness just means that he's separate from sin. He's separate from sin. And look at Revelations 4, verse 8. It says, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come." And that's what we're going to be singing at the end of the day. That God really is holy. He is separate from sin. And the beauty of that is that God, imagine a God that was sinful. You know? Imagine a God that even though he was slightly perfect, man, he had a little bit of sin. You know, he's all powerful, but he can sin and mess up every now and then. That'd be a scary guy. You know what I mean? It's like, man, he can like mess you up whenever he wants to, you know what I mean? But it's cool because God, man, is perfectly holy. He has no sin in him, nor does he want anything to do with sin. He's completely separate, other from sin. And he's perfectly holy. Another aspect is his justice. His justice. Proverbs 17, verse 15 says this. It says, "Acquitting the guilty and condemning the innocent, the Lord detests them both." Acquitting the guilty and condemning the innocent, the Lord detests them both. You see, God always acts justly. He always does the right thing. You know, man, he's always stepping out and acting on his creation in a just way. You know, we love people who act justly. You know what I mean? It's like we got Martin Luther King, you know, the people who fought in World War II, you know, the people who fight for justice around us. You know, we tend to appreciate that. You know, we tend to look up to that, admire that. You know, for whether it's Martin Luther King and the civil rights, you know, movement in the South, or man, it's the World War II. We're fighting against the Nazi regime, where they're taking advantage of thousands of people to take them down. And we aspire to be like, and we admire people who act justly. And it's amazing because God really does act and live justly. But the crazy thing about his justice is just this: is that, man, all of us have sinned. You know, each and every one of us has sinned against God. We've broken his commandments, every single one of us. And because of that, all of us are guilty before a just God. And the reality of his justice is that, man, the verse says he doesn't want to acquit the guilty. And he's going to punish the guilty and acquit the innocent. And he's going to act justly. And because of the fact that we're all guilty, y'all, we're desperately in need of this next quality of God, which is His grace. His grace. And I think His grace is most beautifully displayed in Ephesians 1 verse 7. It says, in Jesus, we have redemption through His blood, forgiveness of sin, in accordance with the riches of God's grace. You see, at the cross, we get a wonderful picture of the character of God coming together. You see, we see His holiness and that He's separate from sin, and that He puts the sin that we committed on Jesus. You know, we see His faithfulness and that He comes through and delivers a Savior for us. That He keeps showing up even though we keep messing up. We see His justice and that He punished His Son in our place for our sins. So we could be completely just and that He punished evil, but that He could be completely gracious and that He offers us forgiveness. See, the cross, I think, is the most clear display of God's character and who He is and that we can see. And y'all, honestly, when I look at the cross, I'm in awe. I'm in awe of that God. I'm at a loss for words. Because I see so clearly the character of a God who is so great and amazing. And that through the cross, we all have the opportunity to experience this last aspect of God's character, which is just His love. His love. And y'all, honestly, his love is a lot different from mine, okay? You can work yourself out of my love, you know what I mean? Like, you make me mad a couple days in a row, and it's like, man, I'm at peace, you know what I'm saying? But it's crazy because God's love is not like that. And God's love is consistent. And He consistently comes after us. Even when we turn our back on Him, and He is still pursuing after us. He still loves us. Even at our worst moments. Even when we spit in His face, and He still loves us and pursues us and comes after us. I think you see that most clearly in Romans 8, verse 38 to 39. For I'm convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither present or the future, nor any power, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. See, you can separate yourself from my love real quick, but you can't separate yourself from God's love. And God's love, man, comes after us, pursues us, and man, He sent His Son to die for us, and He's inviting us to respond to that love, man, through faith and repentance. And I have a friend in the room named Anna Stamps, who has lived out on campus and experienced this awesome God. So I'm going to let Anna just unpack a little bit of what this looked like for her to experience this awesome God. So give it up for her.
Hey guys, so like Blake said, my name is Anna, and I'm a junior Pi-Phi here at K-State. So I'm going to start with a really random question, but I promise it has to do with what I'm talking about. Who here, by a show of hands, has ever tried a grilled cheese mac and cheese? Okay, so a lot of you, me too. But coming into college, I honestly thought that this sandwich was a joke. I kept hearing about it, and I thought it sounded disgusting, and I did not want to try it. But I did at some point, and now I'm kind of obsessed with them. So it's a weird example, but kind of similar to this view I had on this sandwich, is kind of how my perception of God was wrong for most of my life. So I actually grew up in a really awesome home. I had a really great family. Faith was really important to my parents, and they put me in a lot of things that had to do with faith. I was always at church. I went to a Christian school. I even went to Christian summer camps every single summer. And I just remember when I was there, I did not ever want to be there. I was like, what's the point of this? I knew that God was number one in the world, but I did not have Him as number one in my heart or in my life at all. I remember one time I was sitting in a class literally called Life of Christ, and I was like, what's the point of learning all of this? There was no relevance in my life, in my mind at that point. And so this mindset kind of carried with me all the way into college. My freshman year, I really tried to find things that would make me happy, give me satisfaction, like what people thought of me, attention that I got from guys and girls, just everybody. Really just living for the weekend. I thought that would make me happy, but it really left me feeling empty almost on a weekly basis. I just knew that I was not getting satisfied like I thought I would. And yeah, it just left me feeling really, really empty. But also at this time, I had some really awesome friends come into my life named Anna and Summer. and we just started to do like everything together. We would get coffee, we would go get lunch together, we would run errands, honestly just do everything. And we started to talk about a lot of things, like really deep things, including faith in God. And right away I noticed off the bat that we all claim to believe like the same things about God, but they just really talked about him in a personal way that I had never experienced before. And I kind of noticed that this is something that I wanted because they had this joy and satisfaction about them that I really, really desired and I've been looking forward for a long time. And so I kind of learned that they knew the God that I only knew about, and they did that through the relationship with him. And I learned that he desired to have that with me too. And so I ended up deciding to follow Christ. And the things that used to make me happy, like working for the weekend or getting attention, just didn't anymore. They kind of failed in comparison to living for the God that desired to know me. And so what that kind of looks like now is just finding joy in like understanding his purpose in my life through reading his word in the Bible and just spending time talking to him through prayer each day. And kind of going back to what I used to think about how distant he was, kind of like that far away God we talked about. I used to think that his character also had nothing to do with me as well. So one little way that shows up every day is that I used to deal a lot with anxiety, and I would never have thought to come to God with that. I just thought that it was my own problem. He did not care about it, but the Bible actually says in Philippians 4:6 and 7, he's a God of comfort and peace, and he's with me always, which is something I had no idea would affect me, just knowing that about his character. But after finding that out and understanding who he is and what that means for my own life, I just really couldn't imagine not having him in my life. So, thank you.
Your life has been impacted by God and his character. It's just cool to see. But I love what Anna was talking about, and it even, is this on? No. What's for a second? I'm my phone. There it is. All right. But it even connects to, what we've been talking about the whole time. This is God's character, who he is. And really, when we look at all of his character qualities, and you sum them up, you put them together, this isn't a comprehensive list, but I think I just try to put together a few thoughts, as to who God is. But as I look at it, it really is something that really should just strike off in every single one of our hearts. When we think about a God that really is that faithful, that is that holy, that is that just, that is that gracious, that does love us that much, man, it really should just strike a reverence, an awe, man, a response in some way from us to this God. And so what I want to challenge us with is this, is how will you respond to this awesome God? How will you respond to this awesome God? Maybe, this is kind of your first time, looking into faith. Maybe this is your first time thinking about, having a relationship with God. I would say, be open to the idea that God might really be awesome. Maybe you haven't thought about it before, but man, I want you to know that if you begin to look into this, if you crack open the scriptures, if you begin to talk to people about who God is, I'm guaranteeing you that God is going to show you that he's more awesome than you even realize. So we got to ask questions. Ask questions to people around us. We're kind of doing a series, Ask Me a Question, but I would say, ask questions to people around you. What does it look like for them to begin to grow in the faith? Maybe for you, it's like, maybe it's time to look into joining a Bible study. Maybe there's a Bible study going on your floor or something like Fresh going on. Maybe that's the next step for you, is to say, hey, I'm gonna get the Bible study and just check it out, just to see what this God is really like, just to look at the scriptures, to see God's character really begin to unfold. Maybe you've been looking into it for a while and you need to stop looking at reviews about God and just go ahead and buy it. And take that step and just buy God in a sense and go all in. Maybe that's your next step as it relates to the awesomeness of God. Maybe you've been following God for a while and you begin to be growing in your relationship with God. I would say, and does your life reflect a life that is really in awe of God? Or are there areas of your life that you can continue to give over to God and say, hey, I'm not showing awe towards you in this area. I want to be more of awe of you in this area of my life. I want to continue to take steps forward, becoming a person that really is in awe of you. Wherever you're at, I would encourage you, just take one step forward this week. So I want you to go actually discuss this question with the people around you. Just discuss with the people around you what's one step that you want to take to respond to this awesomeness of God. So go ahead and discuss that with people